Like, they're going to need him to play at a high level.
Well, we had some lightning out here right when warm-ups were getting started. You wouldn't know it right now with this weather, but we are getting underway just a little bit delayed, and Notre Dame controls the first face-off. Matt, what are we going to see from Notre Dame offensively against this Drexel D?
You know, again, when you look at this Notre Dame team, it is very well-rounded, right? They have a lot of depth in the midfield, but most of the time it's going to get through X, and Pat Kavanagh is going to be that quarterback. He is flashy, but he also, like, he just doesn't make mistakes. He has very few turnovers. He is gritty. I mean, if I'm Notre Dame, I'm going through him on every possession.
Here he is from X. Sean Quinn is 43 in the Navy for Drexel. Draws the assignment. He's going to see a lot of Pat Kavanagh here today. Low angle shot, and Notre Dame strikes first with Wheaton Jackoboice.
This is what you're going to see from Notre Dame on the offensive end, just sound team offense. You can see Yorke here. The slide comes, the quick pass to Dave for Drexel as they now get the first offensive possession.
Coming in on a 9-game winning streak, took down Hofstra in the CAA championship game, like we said last Saturday out on Long Island. Now, what do you think of the matchup for them offensively against another stingy, as usual, Notre Dame D?
Yeah, they're going to have a tough time, I think, winning the one-on-one matchups. So Coach Volkert said, hey, we got to get them to slide. We have to find someone who can create an advantage, force Notre Dame to slide, and then that's when Drexel at their best on their off-ball movement and feeding the crease as they they tied the score at 1 here with a nice goal off the rebound.
Yeah, rebounds work too, and Drexel's got an answer, and it's 1-1 early on.
And right here, again, this is that offense. They force the slide, then they find the inside, and a nice save from Entenmann. But it's off the rebound here, in and out.
And we've heard what everyone has said. He said, our guys read stuff. They see everything. They know what the predictions are. We're coming raring to go.
And so far in their first 2 offensive possessions, they are executing. They are making Notre Dame slide, and they're creating opportunities off ball.
Here's 21. This is Reid Bowering, fifth-year senior from British Columbia, the most outstanding player of the Colonial Tournament, creeping up on being the all-time leading goal scorer at Drexel, and he puts the Dragons in front.
Just what the doctor ordered for the Dragons, taking a 2-1 lead, beginning to believe that they are going to be in this game. And Bowering, the Canadian, the lefty, right here, matched up against Harris. Low to high around here. Look at the screen here. I mean, no way.
Here comes Sean Quinn. He has scored in the last 2 games with the pole. And what a check from behind by Pat Kavanagh.
Just talk about, that just embodies him as a player, right? He's the attackman running back as a midfielder to stop the transition. When your best player is probably your hardest worker and the grittiest person on the team, it builds character, it builds confidence, and it builds the opportunity to do something special on the lacrosse field.
And just part of the reason, Matt, you said he's probably your favorite to watch in the country right now. He's special. A bouncer scores for Morrison Miller to level it at 2.
And what does that effort do from Kavanagh? Gets him a possession, and then it leads to this effort here by Meyer, sweeping across the field to his left hand, pulling it to the far post. Look at the hips.
Drexel not hung up this time. Here's Pat Kavanagh. Oh, Notre Dame weaving in there, and they'll back this one up with 20 left. Wheaton Jackoboice had the first one for Notre Dame, and he puts them back in front with goal number 2.
Kavanagh gets all the attention in the lacrosse world, but it's this midfield to me that is going to make this Notre Dame team a big-time threat to take the championship. Jackoboice to the middle of the field, the patience, the perfect
cases right before they were going to get started back in late January, and finally able to get underway. 2 losses in the first 8 days for them of the season, and they have not lost in about 2 months since.
You know, that stretch, they beat UMass, they beat Delaware, they beat a very good Hofstra team. I mean, this is a team that, they're there. I mean, this is a very good team, and they're showing it here early on in this contest.
Trouble with the clear, and it leads to a Will Yorke goal, and Notre Dame leads by 2.
Will Yorke, the transfer from Bucknell. Hallenbeck with the pass, and just right here, step up. Yorke as good as anyone in that little corner. Low to high. He's never going to force the issue. He's going to make the right lacrosse play all day long. And right now, he is dictating this offense in the best way he sees fit to attack the Drexel defense.
You see, he's a Tewaaraton finalist, named that yesterday. First sophomore to be named such since some guy named Pat Spencer back in 17, and just when you wondered where was Pat Kavanagh, behind the back for a goal for the Irish.
I mean, he's a very, he's like an old school kind of offensive player where so much of his game, I don't want to say basic, but it is, and then he just does this, where it's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to throw it behind the back and just ping the far corner on a perfectly timed cut. So, for someone who's so sound, who always makes the right decision.
Mo Meyer out there with the top midfield for Notre Dame, with Jackoboice and McCann. Jackoboice swimming back on Hurley. Kavanagh quarterbacking, 15 to shoot. Oh, and he scores! Turning back toward GLE, Kavanagh's got his second.
And another scenario where Kavanagh has Quinn hung up in front of the cage, and then right there, just a quick semi-question mark, right? He doesn't understand why they're choosing to attack him that way. I imagine they're going to make an adjustment here at some point.
And it's 5 goals in a row now for Notre Dame after Drexel led 2-1. Coming up on the final 3 minutes of the second quarter, and a long scoreless stretch for Drexel. Zach Augustine feeding for Waller, and Entenmann made the stop, but Bowering stuffs it home.
Two of the 3 goals for Drexel off the rebound. Entenmann with the save here on Waller, excuse me, and then Bowering. The night
he was involved there on a gritty one after going for 5 in the CAA championship game against Hofstra. John Leahy, the Providence transfer, part of the second-line midfield group for the Fighting Irish. And he scores to answer right back.
Great patience from Leahy on this dodge, redodge. Sets it up by attacking hard to his left so he can roll back to the middle of the field and increase angle. And gets it up. Am I going to get one high to low and then go high to high in the next one? Okay. But if you start at the same level, the goalie's going to read it all day long. You have to start getting him to think that you're going to do something different, and Drexel hasn't shown the ability to do that just yet.
And I've heard Kark talk about this throughout the season, that Entenmann just does a really good job on shots that are low. I mean, he's got a wide base there, and he goes down to get it. Right on cue, Drexel scores. They trim this to a 3-goal margin with Sean Donnelly, the Syracuse transfer.
Donnelly, the redshirt freshman, their leading scorer. The nice patient dodge. I mean, you know, Entenmann's going to make you do that to beat him. Look at no angle. Huge possession here for Drexel.
After the 9th turnover already from Notre Dame compared to the 5 for Drexel, as you were saying. Doesn't totally tell the whole story when you just look at the stats. And it is indeed a big trip down for Drexel, trailing by 3, but with the first goal of this second half. And here's Mulcahy scoring, and it's a 2-goal game.
As I say, Drexel needs to have more assisted goals. They shut me up and score their second straight unassisted. Funny how that happens. Mulcahy to the middle of the field. Notre Dame slow to slide, plants his feet. Entenmann can't keep up with it. And that's a big change. To learn how to shoot on the run in front of the cage, it's different mechanics than Mulcahy has spent a lot of time on, and Drexel rides it back. Feel the energy. The Dragons are making a comeback.
Feels like Philly right now. And some of the juice coming from the Drexel fan base here in Denver. But off the turnover, Lipka answers right back.
What can't Pat Kavanagh do? He's a ground ball machine. He rides hard right here. He's going to intercept this pass. And then Lipka looks off the Drexel defense.
Their second ever NCAA tournament. They won when they were in the big dance back in 2014. And Brian Volker told his team this week, look, we've got to win, because when we were here the first time, we won this first round game. Drexel scores, and it's Aiden Call's first.
Aiden Call does a nice job off ball, and Donnelly with the pinpoint accurate pass. Again, you get Notre Dame sliding, and Call with the nice cut to the back post. And the near side finish for the Dragons. And that's why we're in a dogfight here.
They've let in just under 1,000 fans here at Peter Barton Stadium in Denver. Just under 50% capacity, packing the bleachers. Drexel faithful getting into it. Final 30 ticks of this third quarter with Drexel down a pair. Mulcahy feeds Bowering, and it's a 1-goal game.
The first 5 goals for the Dragons were all unassisted. The next 2, the result of pinpoint passing. Mulcahy does a nice job.
Late second quarter. This game has not been tied since it was 1-1 in the early moments. Tomac. Bowering wants another rebound goal, and this game is tied. Are you kidding me?
A hat trick off rebounds. His 4th goal of the game, his 3rd. While the ball is loose in the middle of the field, the Dragons beginning to believe in Notre Dame, beginning to doubt. We're tied at 8, and right there, just the subtle shuffle shot. Blumenthal, 7 saves this quarter. Give me a break, he's been phenomenal.
Notre Dame with just 1 goal this half on 24 shots in the direction of Ross Blumenthal. And they take the lead! Wheaton Jackoboice puts the Irish in front.
They've been calling for the middies to step up for Notre Dame. I think that's been their best offensive set, and Jackoboice dodges down the alley. He's a left-handed player. Do you see the subtle head fake and the shoulder drop? He gets Blumenthal to bite.
And deep runs in May. They started with Meyer.
Meyer's in a tough spot here. He's able to break through. If I'm Notre Dame, I like the ball behind the cage here. If you do turn it over, make Drexel clear the entire field. Again, it's one of those things though, right? So you get that goal, you go up 2, now you got a face-off, right? Like if you're at a point, if you're Drexel, you almost get the turnover, let him score. Because they could have killed the entire clock, right? But Meyer does a nice job showing his athleticism. An empty net, move ever so slightly low and buried it to the top corner of the cage.
And now Donnelly lost it. Arden Cohen was all over him. Final 12 seconds for Drexel, down by 2, and they throw it away. And Notre Dame should be moving on to the quarterfinals. Notre Dame got handed absolutely everything it could have imagined from a talented and intense foe in Drexel who brought it. But Notre Dame is moving on to the quarterfinals with a 10-8 victory over Drexel.